pink fluffiness and tutus and mommy's dreams and daddy's nightmares. What are little boys made of? Snips and snails and puppy dog tails? No, they're made of cookies and dirt. That's what their dogs believe.
Miss
Broussard, Desiree Broussard.
What are you doing?
I'm trying to audition for this show. What else?
Ma'am, you don't audition. You send in submissions. It's a festival about mothers. And we're celebrating mothers. That's the subject.
Yeah, but don't you have to talk about kids to talk about mothers? I mean, any kids that makes you a mother?
Well, no, not necessarily. Let's see if I can help you out, huh? Do you know any mothers?
Well, sure, I know mothers, and then I know some mothers. But, which one of those two were you referring to?
Mothers. You know, like the Madonna, the Earth Mother, the old woman in the shoe. The famous ones like Eve, Rebecca, Miss Cleaver, Miss Cunningham. Oh yeah, Betty Crocker. Wasn't she a mother? She should have been. Boy, could she cook eggs and cheese. So, do you know any mothers?
Well, sure. I know my mother, my grandmother, my aunts, my cousins, my neighbors, my friends. There's me.
Oh, up there. Now we're getting somewhere, I think. Go on.
Oh, thank you. Roses
No,
are
stop,
red
stop.
and...
What are you doing?
Trying to finish my audition.
Ms. Broussard, you were a mother?
Yes, I am.
Oh, well, then tell us about your children.
Well, I only have one. A son. Carson K. Broussard.
Oh, you have a son, an only child. Well, that must be interesting. How old is he?
Well, he's 17. He'll be forever 17.
What was that?
Oh, nothing.
All right, well, tell us what it's like having a boy, an only child, especially a teenage boy.
Oh, well, he was a surprise. But aren't they all? Children, I mean. But Carson came along and my life changed forever. He was so special. I know. Everybody says that. But Carson really was. I mean, everybody who met him thought so. From the time he was just so big. He burst out with all this experience and exploration on his mind. You know how some children are afraid to get away from their mothers? Not my Carson. In fact, I had to restrain him to keep him from exploring and wandering the world at the ripe old age of 2. On a dog leash, like a puppy. When he burst into kindergarten and started questioning the teacher about what they were going to do that day and making friends and comforting the little kids, I knew that he was going to be okay, with or without me.
Yeah, it's more like it, Miss Broussard. Now, what about some more anecdotes?
Well, there was one time when he was about 13 or 14, we went to the Holocaust Museum. And I think it was a field trip. There were other kids there anyway.
Now, Mom, you know that they asked if you had any questions or comments.
Well, they started talking about the ovens. The other kids were quiet. They seemed horrified. Not my son. He wanted to discuss the efficiency of the ovens. He cited that genocide of this kind was neither profitable, efficient, economical, or practical way of exterminating such a large number of people. Well, the tour guide was speechless. His dad and I just wanted the earth to swallow us up.
It was a sloppy way to do it, okay?
How was Carson at sports? Did he have any talents?
Oh, yeah. He played football. He was a wrestler. He had a very strong analytical mind. He gained all the respect of all of his teachers. He knew how to play chess. He was a talented musician. He could play the drums and the
Oh,
piano.
don't forget, they called me the Piano Man.
Wow, he sounds great. Any problems with it, like teenage angst, any pranks? All I know, he's 17, so what about dating while you're wrong?
I don't know. You see, Carson never...
Go ahead, Mom. Tell them. You can do it.
Carson passed away at 6:55 a.m. shortly before remember it like it was yesterday. I remember it just like it was this morning. I remember everything. It was the first day of school, his sophomore year. He wasn't feeling well. He had a low grade of fever. He was achy. He just wasn't feeling good at all. I decided to keep him home and take him to the doctor. The first doctors that we went to out in Cinco Ranch in Katy, where we live, they couldn't come up with a clear diagnosis. They couldn't be sure. I had a funny feeling. I wanted to be sure.
You can do this, Mom. Go ahead.
When even the doctors couldn't come up with a clear diagnosis and suggested I get a second opinion, I thought, oh my God, what if it's West Nile virus? What if it's mono? Either way, he was going to be out of school for a long time. I never had any idea that it was this. That was September, over a year ago. He began this battle for his life, and this illness that he had been diagnosed with. And then he began the need to take care of me.
Leukemia. You always had a hard time with that word. This illness. Oh, I'm going to beat this, Mom. You'll see, I can do it. Mom, don't be a Hallmark commercial.
Immediately we began the fight. I was there for everything. I wanted to support him and be his friend. I wanted to make sure that through the treatments, everything was okay, but it was one step forward, 2 steps back, 1 step forward, and 3 steps back. And the thing that haunts me the most is, did I catch this in time? Did I do the right thing? You know, his friends never forgot about him. They came to visit, they called, they helped raise money for treatments. They knew how competitive he was. They would play games with him, and most of the time they wouldn't let him win at chess.
Hey, they were only able to win because I had cancer.
Did I mention that he had an unusual sense of humor, and he was brutally honest? There were times when the doctors and nurses would check him in very private areas when the numbers were low and things seemed a little grim, and he would just deadpan and say things like,
They kept checking me for bowel movements and fissures. You would think that they could sense bowel movements. And the way they kept spreading them. If I didn't already have fissures, they were going to help me make some. I think one of the hardest things was what the treatments did to me. Besides the loss of my hair and strength and the achy feelings and the swelling, I didn't even know I wanted to have kids until they told me I couldn't have them because I had been made sterile.
you know, I don't remember them saying that for a simple $500 that we could freeze his sperm, because he was only 17, and the treatments did tend to sterilize. That should be part of procedure. Somebody ought to make that a law. Everybody ought to know about it. I mean, you know, he was always so wise for somebody so young. I didn't even know that he wanted children. There was one time when Troy Aikman and Garth Brooks came to the hospital. I just knew he was going to be so excited about it. Oh, it was going to be so exciting. I know I was excited. And he was thrilled.
I wasn't feeling it. But Mom was so excited and looking forward to it, she stayed feet in front of me, urging me to come on before I missed them. So,
I wanted us to be so close. Mother and son against the world. We were just friends. I wanted to support him, and through every treatment, I was there. I never got tired. In fact, we had a bone marrow drive. The kids were lined up around the block. They were ready, willing, and able to give. But in this state, you have to be 18 years old to give or donate bone marrow. I mean, who knew?
yeah. 17 is the legal age of consent in Texas. You can fuck, but you can't donate marrow?
Things were up and down so much for Carson then. And I wanted to support him. I wanted to make him feel better. I wanted to do something. I guess I just wanted to be super mom.
You know, Mom, if you learn how to play this online game that I like, we will have more in common to talk about. It's all about strategy. That way we could be more like friends, you know?
He always knew my mind. He had really deep feelings, and he was hard to read. But me, I was an open book. I don't remember who was nurturing and who was supporting who at this point.
Oh, tell him all about the support group. Just call me the piano man. That's when Michael dubbed me. Oh, and Lloyd too, except when he was calling me Lo Buddy. You may address me as Sir Carson, a renowned dragon slayer of the House of Broussard, on a quest to slay the dragon known only as leukemia, who hides in the body, hoping to avoid the night. Oh, and the red shirts. Everybody all over the world was wearing red shirts like I was famous or something.
Somehow I think that he always knew, but he wanted to be strong for me. Shouldn't it have been the other way around? Shouldn't I have been the strong one? When the Make-A-Wish Foundation lady came in and asked what we would like, we talked about scholarship money, we talked about trips, and then he got really quiet and serious. And he said, there's something that I want more than anything in the world. And she said, well, what is it? And you could have knocked me over with a feather when he said,
You make my mom happy? Not so stressed? Help her out? I guess not. So a steak dinner will have to do.
a few months after he passed away, my sister Rachel shared a text message with me that he had sent to her. It said, please help my mom with this online game. She's really not very good at it. And she won't ask for herself. I mean, he really knew me.
Mom, it will all be okay.
When the pain and discomfort got so strong for Carson, he never lost his drive. In fact, one time I videotaped him, and he was in bed after a particularly difficult bout, and there he was, tethered to the bed, with tubes and wires, and he was lifting weights. I had to videotape that. I mean, he was so strong, and the only way that I could tell that the pain was really getting to him was when he asked me to rub him, you know, like a massage. I don't know if it made him feel better for me to do it and be closer to him, or if he was just giving me something to do so it could occupy my time. That last night, because of the way he was laying in the bed, I had to literally climb up on the bed to massage his head and shoulders. I hope it did something to comfort him. It did nothing for me.
It'll be okay.
You see, I was there when my beautiful baby boy took his first breath and came into the world with a shout. And I was there when he took his last and he left this world with a whisper. Carson was a gift. He was a heaven-sent gift from God. And I was lucky. I was blessed to be able to raise him, even just for a short while. I feel like the luckiest girl in the world to have had a friendship as strong as this one. You know, parents should not have